MOU is going back to an idea that a couple of years was born already. It's where we have the expertise of the German Water Partnership, which is combining not just a number of companies active in the field in Germany, but also academia. It's associated and affiliated with research institutes. It is also working together with a number of ministries in the government. So it's really bringing together all that you need to know. Company, technology, academia, science, research, and government support. And we're looking at ideas where in India can we get together to work at some of the problems and some of the challenges that we find. And in that course, there is now this project that yet again tries to bring together on the Indian side, academic, and it's Anna University at this point in Chennai, and it's the Chennai Water Sewage Board that is bringing the government to sort of sit together and see where can we work on these issues. How can water be saved? How can we make sure that the provision of water, that there is potable water available, water is not being lost in the canalization, and how can we really find ways of improving the provision of water. There is a number of other ideas that we would like to look at, that we would like to explore in the future. But I think it's this idea that if you want to bring the players together, you have to think beyond just company and government. You also have to include research, you have to include academia, so that you can approach the problems from a theoretical and a practical way. And I think this is what we're trying to do here today.
So what kind of export initiative is this?
Sorry?
Export initiative.
So I think we're looking at two things. We're looking at getting companies from Germany here at the IFAD to show what technology solutions are there. And I think one of the issues that reoccur a little bit for me today is that when we look at German cities, one of the biggest cities we have, Berlin, has 3.5 million people. So this is like, I mean, Anderi is probably bigger than that. So how can we sort of transport or export solutions that we have found that work in a municipal environment in Germany that is a minuscule part of what is Mumbai, for instance, what are other major metropolitan cities in India. And are there maybe solutions, are there technologies that help us understand this can be done, even the context is so much bigger. Now, sometimes it may be that the approach that we have found is very helpful when you're looking at smaller areas, and sometimes you see that the ideas are the same, but sometimes it is different. One of the things we just learned, which I think is very interesting, when we look at municipal solid waste management, in Germany the setup is that you first have to come up with ideas, how do we get rid of the waste? How do we process the waste? Now, only what you cannot process, what is left, can then be put into a landfill. So we're trying to put as little as possible into a landfill, but we try to come up with the technology to recycle, reuse, and make sure that as little as possible is wasted before we even go to that area. So I think in that sense there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of work. There's some other issues present and that technology can show, is that if you look at the water piping systems, for instance, the water piping systems, after a while, of course, they start corroding, the issues arise, and some of the water is being lost in the system because it doesn't reach where it's supposed to go. Now, in order not to open up and tear up the roads and see that, okay, the problem we think is here, but we'll have to dig it all up, there's now camera and robotic technology that will allow us to just see in the canalization where are the issues, pinpoint exactly to the problem and deal with it there without having all these operations where whole street is blocked, then we have the underground works here. And so we're trying to find ideas that work here, even though our own experience may not be as big and as massive as the challenges that occur in Mumbai.
This is first of a sort of MOU that has been signed today.
So between the German Water Partnership and Indian partners, this is the first MOU that has been signed. As these things go, I think you start slowly, you build up on something, and then you can see, can we take ideas of this and go further? So in that sense, we hope that also IFA this year will inspire to look a little bit further, will create possibly new partnerships. and get this idea that we take it from here and this is working well. Let's find new partners, let's engage and try to engage on a larger scale as well.
To other parts of the countries also, other cities also.
India is huge. There are many cities.
I know. Maharashtra is equally huge. So we saw IFAD has been coming to India for a couple of years. The German Water Partnership has looked around for a couple of years. They found one partner now, so now is the time for us to engage here. I think we just had a very good and interesting session with representatives of the BMC, showcasing a little bit of where are their issues, where are their challenges, and we hope that in the course of the IFAD we'll get to talk to partners and hopefully establish ways where we can cooperate in the future as well.
So what kind of competition do you find in India? Because there are other multinational companies also and Indian companies also who are doing almost the same. So how you are different from them and what is the competition? How you feel?
So I think that first there is a mindset that we have to look at, and there's a culture as well. And for instance, in Germany, you're very well trained in the households to separate garbage. Now, here we have a wet waste and dry waste. And coming from a German point, you're always confused. I have a bottle of Coke, and there's still a little bit of liquid in there. Is it dry waste or is it wet waste? In Germany, it's aluminum. It's the material. So we decide upon the material, how will it be recycled, what waste does it go to? And in that sense, I think what we can bring from Germany maybe is this idea that if you look a little bit closer from a material point of view, then can you change the recycling habits? We have glass collection, we have battery collection, we have electric waste collection, and India is sort of stepping up to this and is coming up with ideas on how do we deal with this, how do we deal with that, and it's slowly getting there. And then of course there's a traditional sort of way of collecting garbage. And we can maybe learn then if you have this, how do you go about collecting, how do you go about separating, how do you go about reusing what can be reused. So I think we will see that there's ideas about technology, there's historical experience, but to understand the need and the possibilities, you need to interact, you need to find partners, and you need to learn and understand, okay, how do we go about this here in Mumbai, how do we go about this maybe in Tamil Nadu, or in Delhi, in Haryana, and Punjab. So you're right, India is such a vast and different country that you have possibly even to come up with solutions that differ here than what we have in Chennai or what we have in Calcutta.
Sir, in this MOU, means have you target anything, means how much you are going to, means so what would be your financially?
Investments.
So at this point, this is not a question of investment, it's a question of bringing knowledge together and building a cooperation and a partnership to see, can we work in this field, can we achieve something in this field. So we're not coming from a financial point of view, what's the money in it, but we have this concept that we combine industry, academia and government, and we want to shadow that with the MOU. So starting from this MOU, I think we have a platform where you can see that you get everyone involved on board and you have solutions. These solutions work here, we will transport them somewhere else as well. But it's not a money sort of oriented and oh, how much is it or what are the costs involved. It's really, we have a system that we find is working. Let's try to sort of get this system to work in one place, and then if that works, we'll try to duplicate it in other places. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.